Welcome back to the topic microservices and centralized logging. Today we'll show you how to create username and roles in Kibana. So I am logging into Elastic, the username and password. As you know that Elastic is the super user in Elasticsearch. I just enabled the basic security and created the password. If you don't know how to create the password, then you can check my other videos. Just log in. Kibana is logged in, and if I go here I have some records. If I go to discover, I can see some records here, and I have a visualized report as well. It's a created, it's a logger label, so which I included in a dashboard. So if I open it, then I can see that particular dashboard. Now I will go to create an user and user group. Click on management. If I click on user and roles, let's say click on user. These are the default users. If you enable that basic security and create the password, so these are the basic users already available in the system. Elastic is a super user, as you know. The Kibana is another user. Is basically is helping to connect Kibana with Elasticsearch, a log trust system that user you can use for connecting to log trust with the Elasticsearch, and you have other users as well. So let's go to create a role first. So I'll create a read-only role so that you can and give the basic permission. So create a role here, my read-only role, read-only role here. There are two sections. One is Elasticsearch section, another is Kibana section. So Elasticsearch section means if you want to perform any operation on Elasticsearch, let's say executing queries or performing some operation on a particular index, then you need to provide the access in that user. Let's say I'm putting the index privileges, read privileges, okay, read privileges and others, and cluster. If you need cluster privileges, there are different options are there. You can check the documentation, but I will not go by that. And the run as privileges, that means already some privileges with is there, so you can use it or you can leave it. So I'm just creating that. I'm giving the indexes privileges for Elasticsearch read operation in particular index, and now I will create the Kibana role, because this particular role I will use as a Kibana use read-only user. So if I click here, I'm selecting the default and privileges custom, so you can make it whatever privileges you need. So there are different options, read permission or the custom. So if I make the customs, I will give this little discover, visualize and dashboard, and rest of the things like dev tool, advanced settings, others. So I'm not giving any permission because I'm going to create a read-only user. So all the three is create the privileges. Now create the role. Here my role is created. Now I'm going to create uh, one user, read-only user. So create user. Let's say my read-only user. So I'm giving that name my read-only user. Okay, and set password, like I'm putting the same password as user. You can give any password, you can give the full name and assert the role, which is my read-only role. Okay, and then create the user. Now I will check it later, but before going there, so there are another important section is there. So when you are creating a role, let's say you are trying to create a role, if you don't need Kibana access, then you just create, don't go configure the Kibana section. Sometimes you need some kind of user that required to execute some command in Elastic cluster, and that user access is not required in that Kibana. Then you don't configure in Kibana area anything configure here. Whatever the role and what the privileges required, you just configure over here. The basic things you need to do. Now let us go and log in. So log out. I'm just is going to log out Kibana, and yeah, Kibana is logged out. So going to log down. I'm going to log in with the newly created user, my read-only user, and here also let's log in. Yeah, if you see that you can see only three sections. One is discover, visualize, and if I go to management and if I go to click user, so you see that there is no permissions are there, and Kibana space as I is also showing the permission denied. Index management only, yeah, it's also not having any permission because I have provided the permission only in 3 in read only access. So click on discover here, and if I say last 7 days, but then whatever the record is there, so you can see. Now if I click on dashboard, yeah, it's dashboard also showing in the read only mode. There is you will not be able to modify this dashboard. Edit option is not available. So in this way you can create that Kibana read only user. In other way also, if you require read write access, then accordingly you can go to the role section, create a separate role, or the same role you can edit it and you change the settings as you require. Thanks for watching. This video is a part of a video series based on the topic microservices and centralized logging. If you like this video, then please like, share, and subscribe the channel.